Hey everybody, this is Francisco here with my friends Andrew and Charles for the 133rd edition of Sports Goofs. Unfortunately, due to international matters, this is going to be serious. This is another serious show. We haven't had a serious show in a while. Actually, it's been last time was like the Black Lives Matter movement that started back in
The
2020.
the thing that Heat player that was all anti-Semitic. That was another one.
Oh, that was also.
Myers Leonard.
Oh,
Whatever the hell his name is.
yeah, man, that guy was completely shunned out of the league. Uh,
Yeah, he's not playing this season,
yeah,
right?
he's not. He can go to Russia. Um,
He'd fit.
yeah.
He'd fit right in.
Well, anyways,
Yeah, he's still not playing.
yeah, he's still not playing.
Fun
No,
fact.
nobody's. He is not on any team. So war has broken out in Ukraine. Russia has invaded Ukraine, and we don't need. You don't need to hear sports goose. People don't come here for their geopolitical news, but I deal with that type of stuff in my practice in some ways, and actually, this is probably going to affect people in ways too coming into the future, especially if they're coming out of Russia because of being the centers of I mean, fuck Putin. So I'm just gonna say it outright, just fuck that guy. And
We love our Russian fans. Can we say that?
oh
Should
yeah,
we? Should
well,
we? Yeah.
well,
They're,
well.
they're
Sell
not
out
the issue
with me.
here.
Oh yeah, sell out with me. All right. Record
Yeah.
company, give me lots of money, but everything's gonna be all
I
right.
mean, and look, there's a massive contingent of Russians that are against this invasion. It's just that they live under a dictatorship, and it's very difficult for them to speak out. So, if any, and I do post this on. Remember, we've had lots of Russian people listen to this show, which is weird to say, but it is, and so, but at the same time, I have seen Russians that are pro whatever, and but you're gonna have that. But anyways, I don't want to
Judge
delve.
not the people of the nation for their leadership, but just judge them if they support the bad acts.
Well, and there's a lot of hypocritical things you can say about that for a lot of countries out there, including the one that we live in. But that's not something I want to get into on this show right now. And I'm sure Andrew has done his research, especially with all the announcements that are going on. We just want to focus on the sports stuff that is happening to Russia and with regards to Russia, especially across. We're on the we're not locked out, Freddie. All right, that's Major League Baseball. We'll talk about them later because that'll be during the more lighter segment of
Yeah,
the show.
the only kind of locks that we do is pop and locks. Want to get down with a cardboard box in the back of the 7-Eleven? Meet us there.
So, anyways, a lot of the international bodies within sport have already denounced Russia. Andrew, I don't know if you've looked up every single one of them that has done something at least, but I believe that so far we have FIFA and UEFA have banned all Russian national teams, men's, women's, juniors, whatever you want to call them, under 18s, under 16s, and
IHF.
and all Russian club teams as well, not just the international teams, but the club teams. The IIHF, which I was hoping, because it's hockey, I was hoping would make an announcement soon enough, and they have banned all Russian and Belarusian teams from participating as well. Most notably this year was the World Juniors and the World Championships, obviously, too. But the World Juniors, which were suspended for a bit due to COVID, but were being held in Edmonton this year. And so those teams will not be allowed to compete. And also, Russia was stripped of the World Junior Championships next year in 2023 for hockey. Who else was it? Has FIBA? I don't know. I was trying to look up FIBA, the basketball
I don't
one
think
as well.
I saw anything on that.
So
We
I haven't.
actually were the basketball guys.
Yeah, I haven't. I tried to look it up, and let me look it up while we're here right now.
But these things are so day to day, as this thing kind of. I think maybe they haven't got a knee jerk reaction because right now there's a supposed standstill.
Okay, so
But that's all subject to
FIBA also, all Russian teams and their officials are no longer allowed
change.
to compete within FIBA basketball sanctioned events, and even their 3-on-3 basketball competitions are not being held either. So,
And those are big money makers for Russian players, international basketball and international hockey. So it's not as
it's
if
soccer too, yeah.
in soccer, so it's not very minor things. Not just for Russian players, but also international players alike everywhere.
Yeah. Then also the IOC also has banned Russian national teams from competing.
IOC is the Olympics, right?
Yes, the International Olympic Committee.
But you see, that's silly because didn't they have Russia be able to go into the Winter Olympics and other Olympics as ROC, as the Russian Olympics Committee? So
I don't
it's
know,
like,
Andrew. I don't know if you
so
can look
toothless.
this up either. I don't know if now Russian players are banned because that was the whole thing with the whole ROC thing, and that's what kind of got my goat over the last few years. And look, the Russians have been doing this since they were Soviet Union, cheating in sports. Okay, it's been their thing. It's been really the thing that they're most known for, in my opinion, is cheating at sports. And to me,
And vodka.
and this will go into a deeper discussion that we can have with regards to punishing individual players for the acts of your shitty country. Well, not I wouldn't say your shitty country, but your shitty leadership in your country. Whether they should be punished for that type of stuff or not. Right now, so we've had that. Also, within the Continental Hockey League, which is the Russian highest league of hockey there, and a lot would say is the second best league compared to the NHL. Nowhere near the level of talent that the NHL has, but because Russian players want to play in the NHL rather than want to play in the KHL, except for was it Ilya Kovalchuk, right, Andrew? He was like the only guy that kind of got homesick and wanted to go back home. But aside from that, most guys want to play in the NHL. And two teams, I believe. Who were the two teams? It was Jokerit out in Finland.
Jokerit and Dynamo, I think.
Well, there's several Dynamo teams. Dynamo is very...
Dynamo Kiev.
There we go.
I think.
Out in Latvia. So the Latvian...
Oh, no.
Kiev is Ukraine's capital, but something Dynamo. There's several Dynamo teams. There's Dynamo Moscow. There's a Dynamo Minsk, but those are Russia and Belarus. But the only Latvian team in the KHL has also removed themselves from the league. And I believe because Jokerit was part of the Finnish Elite League before, and then they joined the KHL because it was a higher level of competition, and they were also the most popular team in Finland. But given Latvia and Finland's history with Russia and the Soviet Union, it was only a matter of time before they also were like, fuck this, we're out. Fuck you guys, and we're done. So that's completely understandable. And then you have the unfortunate situation of international players playing for the KHL. There's several guys that are from Sweden or Switzerland or Finland, or I believe there were possibly even like 40 Canadian players and like 10 or so Americans playing on KHL squads this year. I don't know the exact number, but I do remember seeing tweets about that. And one would think, especially with the way that the ruble is falling in value, that they are trying to find a way to get out while the getting's good.
Right.
And that's kind of the... I don't know if I'm missing something, Andrew, with regards to all of these announcements, but that's kind of where we're sitting at with teams that have been removed or anything like that, or or banning of Russian or Belarus clubs and national
Well, I
teams.
know that the FIA, which runs Formula One,
Hmm.
well, yes, I mean they don't just run Formula One; they run most of the international racing leagues, whatever. They said that they will allow Russian and Belarusian drivers to participate, but they will be driving under a neutral flag.
Okay.
Um, this situation is just really messed up.
Well,
Well, CCM, the hockey gear manufacturer,
hmm
said they're removing any advertisements they have with Russian-born players.
Wow. Wow. So they just cut off all brand deals.
That's kind of intense, though, because it's not as if the Russian player or those jerseys sold are going to Russia and the government, right? It's going to the players,
And
contractually speaking.
I mean, and this is part of the debate that I feel in my head. So, right now, and I believe I'm reading here about the WTA and ATP for tennis and their governing bodies. They're suspending the Russian Tennis Federation and the Belarus Tennis Federation from membership, and withdrawing their entries for any international team competitions as well. And their players are going to be allowed to compete, but much like was it F1, Andrew? They won't be competing under the names of their flags. Which, all right. So this is my
It's
thing.
kind of silly though, because
this is my thing, right? And Charles, I don't know. You say what you need to say because I think we might be agreeing in this part right here.
but you can't take away that person's nationality if they're Russian, and if you're an invested person who had watched F1 or all the other racing stuff and you knew they're from Russia, you know they're a Russian athlete, but it's not like they're saying with pride from Moscow, comrade, whatever, Sergey, coming into it. It's like you don't see if there was a Russian boxer. I can't get off the top of my name because I've just been following the Ukrainian boxers who are going to go and get some arms. Shout out to Klitschko's and Lomachenko on that. But I think it's kind of over. I don't want to say overkill because one, not PC in this kind of situation, and then two, I don't know supposed players or athletes is the word we use because I don't. Sorry, Doug, I don't consider like F1 racing, really to be athletic or a sport. It's just doing turns. But what are you accomplishing as a organization, private organization, to kind of be like, you can't fly under your colors if you want to still go? Are you trying to bait the nationalism? If the nationalism of that person reminds me a little bit of God, you're gonna make me go into the recesses of my brain, but the 1950s Black Scare with the communists, with MacArthur, was just kind of go through.
Red Scare,
situation.
Red Scare.
The Red Scare of Hollywood, where I thought we were kind of above that, and you're putting this ultimatum, so you're taking money out of the people's pockets. So what you're doing is you're saying, hey, we hate national oppression, but what we're going to do is do private oppression, and we're saying you license us, we're not going to authenticate it anymore. Clothing, I'm not big on, not at all, because to my knowledge, I mean, and granted, I am not an attorney who reads contracts for Russia and then for private organizations or sports apparel people who make stuff, but I don't think part of the fees goes to the Soviet government, not Soviet, they're not so it's a wannabe return to Soviet government, but to Russian government proceeds. Nor, I mean, I'm not crazy about that. And then the whole idea of like you can't fly on a flag, but it's like you can't take away who their identity is unless they change your citizenship. It reminds me a little bit of The Terminal, the movie in 2005 or 2006 with Tom Hanks, where a man loses his nationality and national identity because of fictional Soviet Union satellite breakup dissolving. And he's like, I don't know who I am. I know the country. That's my bad Tom Hanks accent. But mind you, Tom Hanks had a terrible accent in that movie in itself. Not a good movie. But I don't get it because you're kind of you're inciting violence with violence is the common thought process. You know how they say don't go for eye for an eye, but you're kind of doing a reverse thing. Like, well, sanctions is one thing. Maybe you lead the sanctions to governments who do trade organizations, things like that. But to restrict players' proceeds because you are making money off of your apparel that you're selling, are you not? And if you're putting impingements on people who are not actively using hate speech or pro speech of Russian absorbing Ukraine and attacking, killing people, then why are you attacking those athletes? And mind you, to be fair, even if an athlete sports whatever, because like I said, sorry, Doug, I don't count F1 or FIFA and all that stuff as sports. Right, sure, FIFA's sport, but F1. I think they would lie low and they're not going to be like, do it for Russia because they know that you're just done for the rest of your entire career if you're being exiled. I can get the banning of certain things. I still don't think it accomplishes much unless Russia gets a significant chunk of income from FIBA, from hockey, from all the other stuff that's international. But then if you're impacting the players, are you kind of like, are you just trying to make like international tribunal? We all went to FIU. That's something they always put at us. It's not a just following orders unless you have fictional player who says, hey, I'm going to go pick up arms against Ukraine. Completely understand that. But on the face of things, and here's the problem with boilerplate policies is that they lead to also bad results sometimes. And I don't see the point. And by no way, spin doctors out there listening to us, this is not an advocation of one side or the other. Frankly, I would tell you guys this was something that's been expected for the last 10 years because 8 years ago he was trying to march on the river Crimea, right, or the Crimea River.
Yeah.
But if this is your knee-jerk reaction to it, how are you going to make the players actually feel? Because, you know, there's a lot of people who probably might be neutral on this overseas in Russia, and this is speculation, but this is going to bring in actually history and political science effect to it. They're feeling a way about it, or they don't feel a way about it, and they're just trying to and these are young players too. It's not as if they were around 30 years ago when the Soviet states fell out. They missed out on the Cold War, but now you're going to get these players who, how are they going to feel if you are thinking that they're the bad guys? They haven't done anything wrong. And does it push them to be more supportive because at least the government might be in their interest? It reminds me very much of and you guys can chime in on this one, but how World War II fever kind of came around when you had German nationalists who were penalized for people who had survived during World War One, been around during World War One, penalized for all the countries going there, and then maybe that's what led to certain oppressive people, Hitler coming in, tyrants, dictators, you know, those things, and they just cast their lot there because we shunned them out. Now picture that almost 80 years later. Are you doing actually a service for the world by making people maybe resent you? Because if you're going to say, hey, we're going to make them kind of in theory resent their government, not necessarily so, buddy. I don't know. That's just intriguing to me. You guys have it because unfortunately I stole 5 minutes of your time.
Andrew, what do you think before I start speaking?
I'm looking at the stream chats. I don't know what everybody hates me for, but okay.
He said
Crimea. You said Crimea River.
Was that an intended thing, or was that just like you pronounce it that way?
I'm stupid. How about that? And I think that's probably just how I pronounced it.
Okay.
And
all right.
I think you guys should be happy that I wasn't actually, going into singing a Justin Timberlake song.
That's where I thought it was going. Okay. All right. So, yeah, Andrew. Sorry.
It's so tough. I mean, the ultimate goal here is to get the invasion to stop as quick as possible. And I mean, there's so many sanctions being thrown right now. I mean, I hate to say it, but all Russian civilians are hurting right now. It's an unfortunate side effect, but it's the only way to get any sort of momentum going against Putin. Putin doesn't give a shit that the ruble is down to 1 cent per dollar. He's fine. He doesn't care that people are going to be back in bread lines like in the Cold War. He doesn't give a shit about any of that. but the people that are going to get hurt are the regular people. And if one way to ultimately, the way this is going to end is when the oligarchs, the people with the money, say enough is enough, and they're going to put a stop to this. Because Putin's not going to stop of his own volition. Someone's going to stop him. And if you start to piss off people like Alex Ovechkin, what's his name? Nikita Mazepin. His father is an oligarch who's very friendly with Putin. Mm-hmm. And he's actually... Well, exactly, Freddie. But now we're into the era of electronic warfare. I mean, there's stuff that is being done now that couldn't have been done before, even as recently as the Cold War. So these sanctions are not meant to hurt Putin. They're meant to hurt the people who can influence Putin in one way or another. The people that keep him in power. And if enough of them get pissed, if enough of the population gets pissed, they'll do something about it. So if you're pissing off these oligarchs, like I said, Nikita Mazepin, his father is some kind of billionaire, and the Haas Formula One team is sponsored by Uralkali, which is, I think, an oil company based out of Russia. Which is ironic because the owner of the team is American. So if you're pissing off all these people, something's going to change. And I know, like you're saying, like these people are being caught in the crossfire and they're not doing anything. But if it's a way to expedite things, then I say go for it. Okay. It's unfortunate. Listen, I wish there was no invasion going on right now at all. But there is. It's just a fact. And obviously, starting World War III is not exactly the best way to try and bring a resolution to this, because Russia has a lot of nukes. If you piss them off, if you piss Putin off enough, he is going to use the nukes. We do not want nukage. So right now, sanctions is our best bet, and just do whatever it takes to piss off enough people to get this to stop. And that's the way I see it. It's not meant to penalize these people, these individuals necessarily, but it's a means to an end.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so here I go. So I'm a little bit more extreme with my methods. I played Metal Gear Solid 3 for the first time, and I've been killing every Russian that I've seen in the game. Of course, they were Soviet Union back then, so it's okay.
Fictional characters. We love our Russian fan base.
Yeah, well,
sometimes
it's Naked Snake. All right, he's pretty cool, and he's Big Boss. But anyways, that's just the way that I'm doing it, and I've already donated to Ukrainian refugee fund already. And look, I deal with this stuff for work. This is what I do. I deal with this stuff at Liquid. That's Metal Gear Solid 1, Freddy. I'm talking about 3.
He's just saying the best snakes.
Oh, wow. Snake Eater.
Venom Snake. But that's my favorite Metal Gear
Yeah,
game.
yeah, but he's
Surprisingly.
he's not the real deal. He's not the real Big Boss. Anyways,
Look, but it goes to best favorite, damn
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Everybody understands. There's your favorite Snake, but there's the best Snake.
yeah, well, so I deal with this stuff for work. You guys know that I deal with immigration matters and a lot of political asylum and things like that. So and I come from a family that had to leave because of that reason for their country. So this kind of I have more personal feelings with regard to what's going on, and been trying to think about how I was going to approach this show because I can get a little bit emotional with some stuff. But here's the deal with regards to the sports stuff. So I'm just going to try and leave it at that. But if I ramble on and talk about...
I could always do stupid stuff like saying Crimea again. And everybody just
I
loses their
honestly
goddamn
thought
minds.
that was a legit, like, oh, here goes Charles.
For every person who can't say my last name correctly, with the Argentinian way, but I'm the asshole because I say Crimea instead of, how's it said, Crimea?
It's Crimea.
But you said Crimea River next to it, and it was like, oh my god.
Because I literally thought it was River and Sun Peninsula. You know, guys, this is like 9 years ago when everything happened. It has obviously fell on not just on my back of the brain, but the entire world's brain. It only came up to be relevant because now this stuff happening.
I love the comic relief that we're getting from this a little bit. So,
and it's not ignorance either. I just can't articulate things because I'm stupid. How did I get to be an attorney? I could always do that, and Andrew could be the moral compass. Welcome back, Andrew.
yes,
We've missed you. We realize that we don't get subscribers.
This is a heavy episode for Andrew to come back in. So, anyways, I'm glad that pretty much most of the international bodies for sport have removed Russian national teams from competition because they're doing something that the majority of the international community with regards to the world are against. And a lot of these sports they're dealing with are against nations that are affected in this sort of way. So I'm glad that that's happened. For me personally, I was really glad the IIHF finally answered because and you know, hockey and Russia, that's their sport. It really is. That's Putin's favorite sport aside from judo. And judo also removed his
honorary black belt.
Yeah, exactly. So judo has removed that as well, and I don't know if they've done anything sort of to remove Russian players from competition or doing the. And I really don't like the bullshit of they can play without the flag and not under the flag just as the players. I'm like, no, fuck you.
This makes no sense.
Like for me, it's a Dave Chappelle thing. Why? Because fuck them. That's why. Because they're still Russians. So if they go out and get gold medals and win championships and go back to their home country, they're still going to be celebrated as Russians. So it does nothing to say, oh, but they're competing as themselves. No, they're still fucking Russians. That can't be taken away from them. And Charles made mention of that. You don't take that away from them. You know how you get to it is you punish them for the whole damn thing. You punish them for the whole damn thing. All right? And if they get all pissy, it was like, all right, go take it up with your boy Putin.
I agree with that.
And do something about it if you're all pissed off that you can't throw the javelin anymore.
So are you saying that private agencies are purposely, blackballing Russian players so they can incite a government overthrow?
I'm not saying that at all. I'm just talking about strictly the sport.
Say it as a suggestion for devil's advocate's sake.
I'm not getting into. I'm trying not to get into the whole geopolitical sense of this. I'm just trying to keep it to the sports.
Can I piggyback? Remind me to piggyback off of something on that. I'm not going to go into the conspiracy theory of jokes that we usually do, but there's something I want to touch upon, but I don't want to forget it. So I'm going to let you do your thing.
So
I'm going to talk about it.
So there's that. I really don't believe if you're going to punish the national teams, you also punish the individual players. The world tennis is like you just can't. They just can't compete. Just be like, oh, you guys are done. Like, your federation has been banned. You're part of that federation. Thus, you are banned. That's it. And You want to do something about it? Go take it up with your boy. With regards to the NHL, I'm going to go into the NHL now because it's a sport I care about. And this could also matter for other club sports like with like UEFA. Look, the Russian players are in the NHL. I believe there are 60 in the NHL right now, and they're contracted with the teams. And whatever they're that's fine. But I do believe that the National Hockey League for the future draft should basically, if you are a Russian-born player or let's say, or if you're a Russian citizen, let's say Russian national, then you are not eligible for the upcoming 2 drafts, 2022, 2023.
Interesting.
So now, all these young kids that were hoping that they could make the NHL, suddenly they got stuck in the KHL, and the ruble's gone down, and teams are backing out that are not in Russia. And look, the KHL doesn't even make money. It's been propped up by a lot of these oil oligarchs that are in Russia. That's the only reason why. It's more of a nationalism thing that they're keeping that league afloat, just to say, oh, we're up there with the NHL. No, you're not. Like you're definitely not. Okay, the KHL is when guys in the NHL, when they can't hack it no more, is when they go to the KHL. Okay. All right. You only got one guy that was actually an elite player that wanted to play there, and it was Ilya Kovalchuk, and it's only because he was homesick. That was it. But it's not because the New Jersey Devils couldn't pay him the money. They could pay him a lot more money. Heck, your best player of your nation's entire history, Alex Ovechkin, doesn't play for the KHL. There's a reason why. So there's that. I actually wanted it to go further as well. If you're a free agent Russian player, you're also not allowed. No NHL team is not allowed to sign you, Canada or the United States. So if you're a free agent, you're not, and you were not previously in the NHL, you can't come over. Sorry, go fuck yourself. and now now some of the stuff I've seen on social media with regards to the players that are in the NHL and their opinions as to what's going on, because there's of course the whole, well, they're hockey players, what the hell they're gonna do, why do you need their opinions? And there's people who are like, well, they need to have some sort of opinion. And there's one player that has actively been against Putin, and that's Artemi Panarin of the New York Rangers, who's a really good hockey player. And he's made it known that he doesn't like Putin, and has supported the most prominent opposition to Putin, who has been poisoned before, and was almost died because of Putin trying to get rid of all of his opposition. But then there's your boy Alex Ovechkin, whose Instagram profile pic is still a picture of him shaking Vladimir Putin's hand.
Oof. Use your Pokemon meme.
Yes. I haven't put up the Bidoof one, but...
Charles, you son of a bitch. That is incredible. I love that so much.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, for our loyal viewers, I don't think we can show that on air.
Did you post something on the group chat?
Yeah, because as we're talking for it, because the one thing that's been great about this terrible times is the memes have been straight fire. I don't even care.
All right, well, that's an aside to what I'm talking about. Anyways, so we're gonna go to Alex Ovechkin. He is Russia's biggest athlete of all time, and I'm gonna say that right now. Okay, he's on pace to break Wayne Gretzky's goal scored record. That's how big this guy is. And now, given the way that he has not really, he's made a statement about it without really making a statement about it. I don't want him to get Wayne Gretzky's record now. Wayne Gretzky was one of the guys at first that he did it on NHL and TNT, where he's like, no, Russian competition teams shouldn't play in the IHF tournaments. So the great one is still the great one. But Alex Ovechkin, and I understand he's in a very precarious position, being the biggest. But he's the biggest athlete in Russia in their entire history. There's of course his whole family still lives in Russia. His wife and his kids, his parents. His mom was a prominent women's basketball player. That's why he wears number 8. She wore number 8, and she won gold medal in the Olympics for the Soviet Union way back when. So it may be difficult for him to actually speak out for fear of things to go against his family.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, look at that Chinese tennis player.
Yeah.
Who said that she was sexually assaulted or something, and then she kind of went MIA for a while.
I mean, damn! Just look at Enes Kanter, though, or Freedom Kanter. His
Enes Kanter
against his country of Turkey.
Enes Peace or Freedom, whatever his name
Freedom
is
now.
Yeah, Enes Freedom.
And basically there was that whole debacle. It was about a year and a half ago, but about him not getting visa clearance and him being stuck and what could happen. There are some countries out there, folks, that will just kill your ass. Yeah. And it's not good.
And I deal with people from countries that will just kill you. So I understand the gravity of the situation for him and his family. But I also want to state that his opinion in a way does matter because he's the biggest celebrity in Russia. And he is also a face in the National Hockey League and in the international community.
That's such a tough position to put on somebody as a player that we have no connection to, right?
So,
but
and look, and it takes a lot of balls to do something like that and step out. But we've seen athletes do it before. We've seen a Muhammad Ali do it before.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen a lot of Artemi Panarin has done it. He's not as big as Alex Ovechkin. We've seen players kneel, Colin Kaepernick down here. We've seen guys sacrifice a lot for the greater good.
Well, you're a human being first and the player second, right?
And Ovechkin has made a lot of money over his career. And Putin has done a lot of shitty things to a lot of people over his lifetime since he's been in the NHL and made all this money, that his support of him becomes suspect to me, even to this day. Now, if that's changing, maybe it is. Who knows? But Ovechkin has been in the NHL since, what, 2004? That's about
05 was his first year.
Yeah,
it was the
05, 06.
First year after the lockout.
05, 06 then. So that's about 15, 16 years in the league now. And it's a long, and all with the Washington Capitals. That's a long time for you to be here. You can most likely find a way to become a U.S. citizen. I can guarantee you that. So, I don't know. You have avenues, dude. And this is kind of a moment for you to actually step up. But a lot of athletes and prominent celebrities and things like that can also be cowards as well. And be in the wrong end of history. So, I don't know. It's up to him. But from here on out, I don't want him to break Gretzky's record. So he can go fuck himself. Anyways, so there's that. And all right, so we are at 40 minutes now. How do we transition out of this?
Well, I just wanted to comment on one singular thing.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
about all these
thing.
organizations.
Yes,
and it's not anything particular to like understanding this. If I don't think there's a way of going back of penalizing players and a country for them doing invasion in another country, wrongfully invading and everything like that. But now that you have this power, if you're going to use those positions and those determinations on something that's wrong for a country, you should also, if you view them as a vessel, as a necessary tool to help make change and have an understanding, not just for a universal human rights basis, but also a state right basis of, maybe you implement that too for the countries where there's a lot of stuff going on really bad, and you turn your left cheek or your right cheek from that situation just because, you know, the players of the countries. How are you going to organize those kind of plans when you have that in-state, in-country problems? You know, any kind of ethnic cleansings, any kind of, you know, class systems that are just murdering, killing each other. Like, you institute that, utilize that. If you're going to go on a diplomatic level, I think you should do it in state as opposed to state versus state, because if it's with an intent to make it better and to send a message, and you're saying, hey, we want to make sure the money pockets are sweat out from these terrible people that are in lead, also implement those things too, because I think that might be better. You already took that one big step. Do not backtrack it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And of course, there's a lot of the arguments as to, like, Russia has been doing shitty things in Syria and things like that, so why hasn't this been a thing? And you know, and look, international biases and politics and things like that.
Don't pick preferential heroism.
Yeah, that's
what it's about. That's my issue.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to do good by this world, do good for every country. And I'm not listen, anybody who's coming into this thing, we are not shitting on just what these things are doing to one particular country for one particular situation. We're in support of it. It comes down to, though, but you can do more with this platform. We've talked about this for almost 4 years, about how important it is for platforms for athletes, but now even for organizations. And this is the boiling point, guys. This is beyond what we first started 3 years ago, the platform of Black Lives Matter. That was, I think, our first, you know, one of our serious things with George Floyd's death and everything. But now we're on an international scale. Here's the thing too. Each situation is just as important. Whether or not you want to weigh it on a scale, but don't weigh it on a scale, because the scale always gives you a tip of it. Everything has an importance to it. Now you're going on this organizational infrastructure. Human rights is a universal thing going on, right? And so don't fall backwards just because it doesn't involve one particular nation versus all these other nations who might not have as much influence, because there's a lot of shit going on.
Yeah. Okay. All right, can we end this? Do we want to end this?
We can
something more fun, right?
We got funner things.
Okay.
Well, you know what we could do? I could make this into a Goon MVP session.
Okay, so yeah, it's a good transition. We can get from like, okay, we're pissed off at this. Okay, let's get slightly less pissy and go something like that. All right, so I'm putting the game back on here. Heck, I'm not even do like a brand new intro. Like, oh, here's the music, everybody. The music's on. Nobody can hear me or whatever. Oh, hey, what's up, everybody? This is Sports Goofs number 133. It's Francisco, joined by Charles and Andrew, and we're having fun today, guys. We have no serious geopolitical matters to talk about today. So, welcome, guys. How was your day? How was your evening?
It's good.
Yeah.
I had pizza for lunch.
Ah, yeah. I had cake. Yeah. I had a big old slice of red velvet cake today, guys. And Andrew, how about you? How's it going? You're back from outer space.
Fine. Kind of just trying to get back to normal.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of like Kenny on South Park, who just was gone for a whole season after being declaredly dead and just shows up.
Yeah.
Look, hey, Kenny's back. Hey, Andrew's back.
Yeah.
That's basically me.
So, well, welcome back, Andrew. We missed you. We definitely didn't make fun of the Rays or UCF or anything while you were gone.
I had a great burner on the UCF, and I don't remember what it was.
Yeah,
and I think I told us, let's remember it so Andrew can get pissy. Damn it, I hate this.
I forgot.
I hate being old and forgetting things.
Anyways, you're back. We're glad you're back. We need your opinions. We need to continue to try and get you to be less monochrome.
Yeah, man.
Oh wait, gosh, what was the question? Oh, there's some food questions I had to ask him. It's not in my head no more. I have to listen back at one of the old episodes to remind myself.
So you created a fictional you, like a negaverse you, in that sense of it was the Coke and Pepsi one. So Andrew, Are you the person that if you love Coke so much
that was
and
yours,
you
yeah.
add...
Okay.
Well, this is mine, so we'll start with this one. And so this is like a perfect reintroduction. Are you the person where you only order a Coke and they say all we have is Pepsi? Do you just sneer and turn your head away?
No. Well, first off, I prefer Pepsi.
Okay, so if you ask for Pepsi and they say I have Coke, do you just like sneer
No,
and turn your head away?
I don't. I just, the first thing I ask is, do you serve Pepsi or Coke? But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'll still get the Pepsi or Coke. It gets my taste buds acclimated in advance to know what kind of taste.
Oh my god, he totally is, Francisco. He's just saving face. I feel so vindicated on this.
Okay, well.
What?
No, I know. Well, I guess he's accusing you of being like slightly like a little.
A little Grey Poupon is not honey mustard. We created.
Andrew, I put honey mustard on a steak. If you want to hate, if you want to hate me for it,
fucking Christ.
That's pretty bad.
My sister was like, she was not very. She just looked at me like, "This is not my brother." But yeah. What was it?
We created a fictional character of you since you were with us for like the last 3 weeks, and it always came down to food. And my whole thing was, I think you're like, I didn't say you were like creating Gordon Ramsay air, but I think there's particularities of what you want.
Andrew, I don't know. I might have to make a spreadsheet for this. But what Hispanic foods have you had? Because we've been talking about what you haven't had, but we need to know where you've been. Like, okay, like.
But before we move on, I need to kind of understand a little more what Charles is saying. So you think I'm like a...
No, we created a fictional character. It's not that what we think. We just created a joking stand-in because it came down to food things, and it started with like if it's spicy or not. And then I think on the show we were running the joke if you thought mayo was spicy or not.
Yeah, because we talked about the hot honey chicken sandwich at Wendy's.
Yeah. And then I said, I bet Andrew is the guy that says if he wants Coke, and they say we just have Pepsi, you just turn your head away. But it's not you. It's this food creation.
It's an exaggerated version of you from another dimension.
Right, I get you. I mean, I don't care at the end of the day.
There we go.
I have my preference. I have my preference, which is Pepsi. But as Francisco can attest, because most of the places go out
Coke
to
dominant.
eat is mostly Coke. I don't give a shit.
Okay, so
Anyway, to answer your question, what kind of Hispanic foods have I had?
Yes. Now, and I'm gonna preface this.
And I will literally drive down to Miami if I hear like chips and salsa from Chili's or anything Chili's based.
Okay,
I'm just getting in the car right now.
Not Chili's and not Taco Bell.
I was not going to use those.
Okay.
Even I know that's not true.
Oh, Freddie had it, Charles.
Yes. All right, we're all in conclusion that it was a solid 8.
Yes, there we go.
So yeah, I'm not stupid enough to think that Taco Bell or Chili's or...
Listen, you said you ate an empanada at like Epcot. You strike one.
Well, first off, it was not Epcot. It was Downtown Disney.
Okay.
Even
Second,
worse.
it wasn't owned by Disney. It was an independent company. It just it's kind of like
they just rented the space.
Exactly. It's like would you say that's... You guys have heard Splitsville, right?
Splitsville. What do they have?
It's kind of like a Bolero at Dolphin Mall, where it's...
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Where it's like food, it's bowling, but also like high class food and shit.
Yeah.
There's a Splitsville located in downtown Disney, but that doesn't make it a Disney company. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah, you're just renting out the space.
Right. So I did have an empanada from that place, but that was probably 15 years ago. I did have the whatever a Cubano with pastelitos in it is.
Okay.
Did you say Cubano?
Cubano.
A Cuban sandwich.
No, I know what it is. I'm just saying that.
No,
we had...
I'm confirming with him. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm just saying we have on one episode 2 mispronunciations of 2 important things in this world.
I thought it was Cubano. Is it not Cubano?
Yeah, Cubano.
Cubano.
It's the way he said it.
Well, he's American.
He's in Miami.
All right, you're the one who said
Charles,
Crimea River.
Charles.
I know.
Charles.
I'm so hurt.
You're the guy that called me monochrome. Do you expect me to be pronouncing this shit like I'm not?
I thought you were gonna be like Pokemon and evolve. I love you. It's okay.
Anyway,
Evolve versions.
I can't roll my R's, so you got to give me a pass here.
With regards to rolling R's, I just say you're pretending to be a lawnmower.
Okay. So yes, I've had empanada. I had the cubano with the pastelitos. I've had what are?
Have you had tacos, like real Mexican tacos from like a Mexican establishments?
No.
Francisco,
I forget what it's called, but
Does Moe's count? Charles?
No, absolutely not.
All right.
Because it's made differently. So with like Mexican, you're talking smaller tortilla. You're talking smaller tortilla. You're talking onions.
Wait. So does Moe's count?
No.
Okay.
It's good, but no.
Chipotle.
Oh, hell no.
There we go.
They have chorizo. Remember
that's right. You weren't here for this, Andrew. The chorizo really pissed off Charles. It's not real chorizo. It's a plant-based. Yeah.
I've never had chorizo, so.
Well, you're Jewish, so right. So
yeah, that's fine. You get a pass.
So, Francisco, do you remember a few? I have 2 places in my mind. Well, as I mentioned previously, I have had arepas, thanks to you.
Yes. Okay.
I'll
take you to a different place. Okay, I'll take you to a different place. We'll go to Doggies.
I had I forget what the place was or what I ate there, but it was like an Argentinian barbecue place or something.
Okay.
Where
all right.
It had this multi-tier like thing they brought out, and was like all different types of meat and stuff.
Oh. Okay, here we go.
Do you remember this?
We went together for this?
Yes.
Was it? We did? Me and you?
Yes.
Just us, or like with other people?
No, it was just us.
We did this?
Yes. I mean, it wasn't like $50 worth of stuff like Charles said that he did up in Orlando, but
so I went to a Brazilian steakhouse.
So no, it wasn't.
Mineiro, we still think about you every night.
Argentinian.
I mean, it was.
Was it in Doral?
Yeah, because we don't really do like barbecue, bro.
It was. I think it was in Doral or close to. I don't remember.
Why is my memories not? Is this like a? Was it What's that thing where like everybody says the Berenstain Bears, the Berenstain Bears? Was that thing called?
Oh, it's like you saw Peacemaker.
You know,
the Mandela effect.
The bigger issue is that there was an Argentinian steakhouse barbecue joint in Doral, and I never went there, knew about it.
Maybe this Andrew did come
I'm just
from
going
a
to whip
different
myself.
dimension. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe we parked through.
I'll commit seppuku on myself.
I'm just saying Argentinian, but I don't know what kind it was.
Okay, but what kind of meats did they bring us? Because I'm trying to remember this experience.
It was like a very thin meat in little like chunks.
Little chunks. Man, my brain is doing overdrive right now.
This is sadder to me than our previous topic that we're discussing for 45 minutes.
Well, we talked about the hot honey chicken sandwich for like that much, but I'm really trying to remember this experience. Andrew, this is gonna. I mean,
obviously,
it
wasn't
night.
good if you guys didn't remember the name.
And who I suggested
if
this place
what?
to you? Did I suggest the place to you, or was it you?
Yes.
Damn.
All right. So, did you have chicken? We're gonna go this surgically. Did you have chicken with it?
I don't remember.
I'm gonna look on Yelp. I don't know.
I just remember the steak or beef or whatever.
Okay. So, have you had like pollo pachuga or la plancha, anything like that? Carne asada. We're just gonna list off the foods.
Well, hold on. Rewinding a second. The second place that I know of, Francisco, that I remember,
okay,
was we went at your old place, at your old office.
Right.
We went there with your whole staff for your birthday.
That was it?
And that was located in the. If you go down 42nd, going west, away from your office.
That was a Mexican place.
That was Mexican? Okay.
Yeah. It's I remember the restaurant, but yeah, it's in Midtown Doral. That's the area. But that was a Mexican restaurant, I think. Yeah.
I don't remember what I got from there, but I did in fact eat there.
Okay. But that was a legit Mexican restaurant, not like an Americanized one. So yes.
Yeah.
Okay. If I can find the place too, because I've been there a couple more times since. I'm gonna look up that menu because I'm in.
You guys are killing me.
So I can't remember that first place though. That's gonna drive me nuts.
Andrew has to go clean slate on this.
Yeah.
And just go back and trying everything.
Yeah. We can go back to the Mexican place.
But I assure you, I have been to that place before.
Yes. Okay, I am going to look up what that place was. But I just can't remember that first place. My God. That is really going to just drive me nuts, man. I'm sorry I failed everyone else, but...
Well, Charles, you were mentioning other stuff, so, hit me.
Well, okay, so what I'm taking is that the bigger question, because we can't go 15 years in the past, 3 years in the past, 6 years in the past. Recently, as you went on your excursion, since we brought up your monochromeness, have you had Spanish food? What kind of Spanish food did you have?
Well, as I mentioned, I had the Cubano with pastelitos in it. That's the only thing I've gotten to so far.
All right. Because last week's episode, we had the, and we'll repeat again, La Perrada del Gordo, that crushed chips burger. Oh, man. So basically, we're on, how sometimes there's the road to recovery and sometimes there's a road to success? Well, we're on the road to amplify your taste buds. We're on the road to educate. So we will bring it in where we've gone through in detail of the kind of foods you should eat, shouldn't eat, go from there. But it's time now. We will develop a taste, the zest, the quest of greatness for you. I will find you places. I will buy them for you. I don't care. I want you as my on the show. So we do this because it's real. It's like the same thing we did with the bet for the Rays. As my treat for you for dealing with the floater bar and their upendedness, find a restaurant. Wherever it is. I don't care if the meal is $5. I don't care if the meal is $25. You get it. You try upon Francisco and I recommendation. I know you sent me a thing for Los Palacios and Los Hugos, but I forgot about it. But whatever it is, we are going to encourage it. We're going to encourage you in this sense. It's almost as like, what's that TV show where they were doing the house fixing up makeover edition?
Extreme Home Makeover Edition? Or
Extreme Home Makeover, except we're doing Extreme Palette Makeover. Andrew Edition. So find one. It's on me. We love you. We miss you. Come into it. I just want to hear your reactions. Because we are now a Food Central show. We are not a Sports Central show.
It was a sports show, everyone. Freddie had a good one from last week. The quote that I made, it was like, I guess we could talk about sports or something like that.
Yeah, something of that nature. Now we're Major League Goofballs?
Yeah. Yeah, well, it might be Major League Goofballs because...
Now we can
all right, we're at the 1 hour mark, guys, and I know I came in late, so I guess we can do a word from our non-sponsors, right? Let's get it going. So it's people, places, things, concepts, what have you that we've been enjoying over the last week. I don't know who wants to start. Andrew, you haven't been here in maybe close to a month or at least 3 weeks. But if you want, I can go first. It doesn't matter to me.
If you wouldn't mind.
Okay. All right. So let's see. So this last week, just kind of trying to. I've been busy, guys. I've been super busy with work and all kinds of stuff. Like it's been hard. It's been really hard for me, and it's just time, man. I get home and I'm tired. I don't want to do anything else. You know, I'm in this confounded diet of mine. Okay, I ate, and I'm gonna maybe a reverse non-sponsor here, an anti-non-sponsor. Papa John's, false advertisement for your New York style pizza. It looked nothing like it was in the commercials. Like I've had pizza in New York City, and it didn't have the same consistency, not the same floppiness, not the same size. Like your dough is not made to be that way. So you're advertising it as if, oh, it's using our fresh, never frozen dough and all that stuff. Like your fresh, never frozen dough does not fit the New York style pizza, I don't know, form. You could try and stretch that thing out, but it sinks back in. It can only do so much. And you don't have the right cheese. You don't have the right sauce for it. Like it was fine, right? I hated myself during that time period afterwards, and then really hated myself the second day afterwards too, because I could not stomach much more. But yeah, no, false advertiser for that, Papa John's. No bueno, no bueno. I was disappointed in the form factor that you made that pizza in. It looked more like a slightly more stretched version of your large pizza, but not a New York style pizza. So no, it's not New York style, guys. It's just a Papa John's pizza. It's probably a large Papa John's pizza. That's all it is. So no. The other thing. Well, I was playing with Doug. We were gaming. Doug's been doing a lot of gaming lately. Play with Andrew playing MLB The Show, and he was like, "Hey, let's play something for Cisco." All right, I had to renew my Xbox Game Pass thing, but my Xbox Game Pass for PC expired. My 3 months for $1 expired, so I have I paid $24 for a 6-month subscription, but then I saw that I could do a 1-month subscription for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate for $1. I'm like, all right, let's do it. All right, Charles has got me to be more cognizant of deals, and that's what I'm doing. $1 for a month? Hell yeah, let's do it. And this thing is Ultimate. It's not just for PC, so it comes with some extra perks. If I had an Xbox, I could play stuff on my Xbox, and under the subscription, there's a bunch of games on there that I don't have. But hey, I don't have an Xbox. I just have the 360. But I get Xbox. You get 1 free game a month, or no, like 2 or 3 free games a month, anyways, with that. So I'll take advantage of that soon enough. But something I did not factor in was xCloud, which is their streaming thing. And I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. Now I can have it on my phone. I can play Xbox games on the go if I ever feel like it, but it's a little touchy when it comes to Wi-Fi and wireless connection. Like you're not gonna get the same experience. It'll get blurry. It'll get laggy. If you're gonna do this streaming games, cloud gaming thing with Luna or nobody's using Stadia, or xCloud, or Nvidia GeForce Now or whatever, you really do need a wired connection. And luckily my gaming PC is wired, and I just happened to notice that I could do xCloud and play MLB The Show. So
yeah,
me and Andrew tested this out. Was it? No, 2 days ago. 2 days ago. And let's just say it didn't go well on my end. I got spanked. What was it? 18-0, Andrew?
Yep.
I got completely spanked. Pitching wise, I think I can do fine on a sports game like that, but it was the hitting. The hitting really got to me because it worked well enough. It looked pretty clear on my TV. It looked it looked it ran for the most part pretty smoothly. It wasn't choppy, but there is some latency with regards to button presses. So pitching was fine, but hitting, I have to, like in my brain, I have to kind of do an extra calculation for where the pitch is going, so I can touch the button, and then it would register the swing. Just let me like a I don't know point zero whatever seconds it is to just do it on time. And I had very few on time swings during that game. I was either way too early or just super late on my swings. So certain sports games and especially fighting games, I don't even want to try fighting games through streaming. That's going to be trouble. But everything else, single player experiences, hell yeah. I played Banjo-Kazooie, guys. I never owned it when it was on N64. So I never got it.
I'm shocked by that.
Yeah, I was a kid. I didn't have much money, you know. I don't buy the games in the frequency that I bought them back then, Charles. It was like, okay, I got Mario 64, I got Mario Party 1, Mario Party 2, Mario Party 3, Zelda, Majora's Mask, Donkey Kong 64. Like there was only so much I could get at the time, so I didn't get Banjo-Kazooie. And then I didn't own an Xbox console, so I couldn't get any of the re-releases. But thanks to Game Pass and xCloud, I could play it, and I've been playing it now. So I've been having fun with that. And there's a few other games on there that are console exclusive, so I can't even download them to my PC that I'm going to try out as well. And I was really surprised, but at the very least, I can play MLB The Show when it comes out. I can have my fun. Andrew can lord over me because he's very happy that he finally has a game that he can lord over me in. So, but regardless, I had a lot of fun, anyways, because I get to play a modern video game. You know, I'm not stuck in the past like I mostly am with my gaming back catalog. I finally have Madden 22 now, so hey, I'm catching up, guys. I'm catching up. So promo code Old Geezer. Because even when I have xCloud, I'm over here playing an N64 game. All right, who wants to go next?
I'll go so Andrew can get the last call of it. Plus, mine's going to be relatively short. We've had this before. I have mentioned it before. I thought long and hard about what I was going to do. You know, I can't put in games. I can't put in Horizon, even though I'm 15 hours in. But I thought much on this. And even though I had mentioned this non-sponsor like maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago, I did a thing, guys. I did a thing. Because I have been on the Andrew list show, so not having Andrew, I have to catch him up here. I've been just trying to find the time to go get myself some chicken and waffles. Some good old chicken and waffles. And where do I like to get those chicken and waffles? At Fats in Fort Pierce. But the last several weeks, I've had court in the morning, and I haven't been able to chill in the afternoon because my schedule's been so demanding. But damn it, boys, I was not going to be denied. Because last time I was there, I had the chicken and Oreo-based waffles. I've had the chicken and Fruity Pebble-based waffles, and that was in December, so I'm remembering this stuff. It seems like every couple of months I have it. And I knew I was going to try that red velvet. And I got there, and it was like Wednesday or Thursday. I think it was Wednesday. And I was like, ooh, because, you know, I had a lot of stuff going on. But I was like, ooh, I'm local. I don't have to be in a different county. I can just stay in this county's office for a whole time. I go on that Google. I order me some chicken with that nice sweet red velvet waffles. I did honey hot, their flavoring, because we were feeling it from the Wendy's love. First off, the chicken tenders are just so good. And when I wear white for work, I don't go chicken and wings or like wings and thighs because I'm always afraid of shucking it and having the sauce hit my tie or hitting my shirt. With tenders, I can just cut it with a fork. It makes life easier. I'm sorry, I'm a delicate person. What can I say? I'm also very vain and image driven. But that flavor of the wings was just so good. You get 3 fat tenders. But the red velvet waffles, I sent you guys a photo. I felt like the photo did not do a disservice because of how red it was. It looked like it was the background on the wrapper. I'm getting hungry thinking about it now. My mouth's watery. It was so sweet. It was so good. It was not sturdy like a waffle ought to be, but I think that's because of the batter that's used for that. But man, ooh, it was delicious. I don't know if I love it more than the Oreos, but I know I love it more than the Fruity Pebbles. I will say the Oreo waffles is very heavy, so that's a difficulty. Papa almost tapped out on it. I did not tap out on that waffle. And how I did it was I went tender, waffle, and on the final tender, I used the syrup, just give it even a sweeter consistency. I love Fats. I love JoJo's. I'm not going to pick them. It's like picking children, except they're twins. And you can't pick twins differently, right? It's not the equivalent of going to Little Caesar and getting their Batman calzone, which I'm seeing on my screen right now, instead of Papa John's. But when I know I want that, and it will always be chicken and waffles. Here's the funny thing. JoJo's and Fats do different things. I can't compel myself to deny God's sweet kiss on my lips. I always, as with JoJo's, I always have to get the wings and fries, and with Fats, I always have to get the chicken and waffles. And there's a cinnamon toast swirl. And I'm not too crazy about it, but I gotta try it. I gotta do it. My life goal, not to be a judge like other lawyers are, not to become politician or president like other people are, or win the lotto, though I would like the lotto, or become a professional wrestler and inherit the WWE from Vincent Kennedy McMahon or AEW from Tony Khan. My life goal is to have the same reaction of glorious bliss. Being on cloud nine the same way that the food critic, I think his name was Anton, was in Ratatouille when he tasted the ratatouille. And it brought back the dreams or the memories of his mother making ratatouille after a hard day at school because he got picked on. That's my life goal. I want that single moment of cloud nine sensation. I've never been more envious in my life than that. Because what do I always tell you guys? You don't take your stomach with you when you die. Look at that Oreo freaking waffle on your screen. Look at them wings. Fats, I love you. Promo code love.
Yeah.
Bro, that was so good, guys.
That's soul food right there.
That
is real soul food. That is legit soul food. My God. Look at it. I'm just scrolling by here. Look at all that powder on those waffles there. I wish I could eat shrimp again. I really do.
I haven't even. Man, if they did a combo of, I don't know about shrimp waffles, but if you had shrimp chicken and waffles, and mind you, my fat ass would just order it as a side. I like shrimp as an appetizer.
Yeah. Oh man.
This is why I can't go to a doctor, because I'm literally afraid of them doing the whole blood scales. It's like, bro, what do you put in your body? I'm like, but I work out. What do you put in your body?
I'm telling you, it'll be just like the Always Sunny episode where Dennis goes, I'm going to get you on my diet.
Oh my God, yeah.
You're on the verge of having a heart attack, really.
I haven't even begun to peak.
Oh my God. Okay. Andrew, you're up, my dude.
Well, I mean, as annoying as it was having to take this stupid bar exam again, I have to give props and credit to the Hamilton Inn in Ybor City, which is the hotel that I stayed at for the duration. It's quite a nice hotel. It's cheap compared to
Hampton, right? Hampton Inn?
Hampton Inn, yeah.
Okay, all right.
It's cheap compared to the other nearby hotels because they mark up their prices severely whenever the bar is in town, because they can. The reception is very nice. Staff is very nice. Didn't spend a lot of time there, obviously, but it was still a nice experience. That's where I was the last time I was in Tampa. Their breakfast options leave a little bit to be desired, but I'm not complaining. It's free hot food in the breakfast, which is a godsend when you're trying to save some money when you're staying in Tampa for all those days. So yeah, Hampton Inn, Ybor City. If you for some reason are going to Tampa, I would kind of recommend going there if you're looking for something cheap. Let me say this though, can I promo code double decker parking lot.
All right.
But can I do an anti
Sure.
non-sponsor?
Of course.
So my anti non-sponsor is Budget Rent-A-Car.
Oh boy. Here we go.
Yeah, I've had okay experiences with them, but I think where he's going with it.
So Budget Rent-A-Car. I used the location at the Miami International Mall because it was cheaper and it was close to my house. I wanted to get out early in the morning because I had to be in Tampa by 3:30 in order to pick up my badge to enter the exam. So I was planning on leaving around 9 a.m. I'd get there about 1:45 in the morning, obviously, on Monday. I'd get there about 1:45, 9 a.m., pick up the car, go back really quickly to put all my stuff into the car, and then I'd be out and on the road by 9:30 or something to that effect. So I'd be there by about 1 o'clock. So I could check into my hotel, grab a bite to eat. It's a long drive. It's a 4-hour drive from Miami to Tampa. And a lot of that drive is just out in the middle of nowhere. So that was the hope and that was the plan. So Monday morning, about 8 o'clock, I'm up. I'm getting ready to pack everything. I'm thinking, all right, we're getting ready to go on a road trip here. I get a call from the budget and they say, hi, so we don't have any cars right now.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, I've had that happen.
We don't have any cars right now.
How the hell do you not have cars?
We might be getting some in around 10. I'm like, no, I should be a quarter of the way to Tampa by the time a car gets in.
What a terrible way to start your bar journey. But everybody has a bar starter, right? Isn't that what Ruiz said?
I'm turning this, thanks to them, I'm turning this into I'm going to do a whole thing on this. I'm going. Sit back and relax. So I get there at 7:45. I am determined. My mom went with me because it's tough enough going by yourself to the bar, but it's incredibly difficult. It's tough when you have to do it for 3 days instead of 2. So, she drove me and stuff like that, brought me food because they didn't have the thing where you could eat inside of the convention center this time. Everyone had to leave. So the logistics were just out of whack this time. So we're sitting there. It's like, all right, we're going to be first in line. Whenever the first car gets here, I don't care if it's a fucking Fiat 500. We're taking it and we are on the road. So it's not. And I get there. No cars. I'm still sitting there. It's like 9 o'clock. Still no cars.
Oh, yeah.
Eventually a car comes up. It's a Volkswagen Passat. I'm like, great. This is exactly the size car we're looking for. We have a lot of luggage. We want to be comfortable. We've done a 3-hour drive in a Fiat before. It is not comfortable. I would highly not recommend that. No, seriously, that's an anti-non-sponsor as well. 3-hour road trips in a Fiat 500.
Andrew coming out with the Uzi, man.
He's been holding
indiscriminate
it in.
With the clip.
There we go.
So, waiting there. Finally, the Volkswagen comes up. The previous driver, occupant, what have you, goes right in. He's like, all right, here's the car. Didn't vacuum shit or anything, which, all right, fair enough. I mean, you can't really expect you expect the budget. You expect the drive. You expect the place to have a car available for you, all clean, ready to go,
especially if you sanitized
in this COVID world, or even in pre-COVID. You don't want a car.
Andrew, I want to ask, you reserved it, right? You reserved.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what sucks.
I reserved it several days in advance, not even like the day before. I reserved it several days in advance. So we're waiting. Finally get the car. And I unfortunately had to get the insurance because apparently my insurance doesn't cover liability for the other vehicle or shit like that. So it's an extra.
Which doesn't make sense because all rentals have insurance on their own thing, and in Florida's what, PIP. So yeah, I mean they would have to sue you, but that's just me being a lawyer. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Hit them with the clip.
So anyway, yeah, I get the insurance. It's an extra $60 down the drain. That sucks. But it is what it is. I'm driving around in an unfamiliar city where the traffic patterns are shit. It's like I don't want to deal with that. I just don't want to. I'm just going to let budget deal with it for me, and that'll be that. So we're driving, very good. We finally make it. We go straight to the convention center first because thanks to them, I wasn't able to get my car at 9 a.m. I think we got on the road by like 10. So we were at least 30 minutes behind, which great start to the morning. So we get there. Now I put the rental car and the hotel on my credit card because that's just the way to go. So you don't get all these extra fees and shit.
And the points.
Well, yeah. I wasn't so worried about the points. I was more about just not having to pay extra money. So, and I budgeted out correctly. I was going to have X amount of money left over between the rental car and the hotel. The extra money for the extra money for the car insurance, that kind of threw a spanner in the works a little bit, but it was still going to work. And so I had it budgeted down perfectly. I was good to go. If there was some extra, I could put it on my debit card, but the vast majority would be anyway. So I show up to the hotel, and they say that my card has been declined. I'm like, what? What's going on here? I had enough money. So I whip out my phone. I say, excuse me, fine woman at the front desk. Let me go check what's going on here. So I check my credit card app, my bank app with my credit card. Apparently, and I was not told this by the person at budget.
Oh, the hold. They hold
put
the money.
Extra
That's right.
hold.
That's right. They always do that if you use debit. Yep.
I thought Enterprise did that.
No, all of them.
I never had that issue with budget.
All of them do that, Charles. Believe me.
$200
on already a $260 reservation on the car, right?
So that completely throws everything. That completely throws any sort of budgeting I had out the window.
Man, you should have told me. I would have sent you some food money, man. I would have.
I'm not exactly expecting $200 extra on my credit card. So I'm sweating because I'm nervous as hell. Where am I going to stay tonight if I can't afford to get this hotel? Not to mention that it's Tampa. Enough said. It was like 80 degrees and humid as fuck. So it's always like you're walking in it's always like you're just walking a swimming pool. But then I'm just getting really pissed off because between the being an hour late basically and having to deal with this shit, and I called the budget number. I'm like, what's going on here? And he said, oh, we have a $200 hold that'll come back to you in 3 to 5 days. Like I tried to be really nice to the gentleman because he works at Budget National. It's not his fault that no one told me about this. And bear in mind, I don't rent cars that often. So it's not like it's something that I can expect. I don't rent hotel rooms that often, but I know that you're going to get some extra fees, and you just not to take that quote on at face value. But even with hotel rooms, the fees are relatively minor compared to the cost of the room. We're looking at like nearly doubling the cost of the rental with the car rental. So I'm trying to be nice, and he's basically in customer service lingo basically saying tough shit. I'm like, well, shit. So luckily I was able to find a way to pay enough of the money so I was able to get into the hotel room, so I was not homeless going into the bar exam. Thank God. But still, that was not exactly the best way to start off my bar week. And bear in mind, sorry, going back a little bit. So when I did pick up the car, they did the bare minimum job of sanitizing the thing. It was just this guy goes out with like a rag,
a Lysol can or whatever,
a rag, like one of those, like, you know how janitors have like this plastic squirt bottle with some mysterious pink liquid in it.
Yeah, the way
so
you
he goes
wipe
out,
down a table at the restaurant.
Exactly. So he goes out to the car,
rag.
and he goes out to the car with the rag and the mysterious pink liquid.
Oh God!
He's out there for like 10 minutes maybe, and he comes back, and supposedly the car is all clean. There's still like remnants of the fact that there was another human in that car previously. It's not like they vacuum out and stuff, and who knows how clean it was, but I didn't care. I was getting to Tampa as soon as possible. So that was fun. So, and I double checked the contract, the rental contract, because I could have sworn I did not see an extra $200 here, but no one told me there was a $200 hold. So, yeah, it was not exactly the best way to start the weekend, and not to mention that the first day of the bar was its own sort of issues because no one told me what room I had to be in to take the exam. So, because I was testing in a different room than the, general population.
Yeah.
So no one told me what room I was supposed to go to. So I'm like running around the convention center looking for anyone to help me, but the only people who were available were the security people, and they didn't know shit, which not their fault. Their job is to man the what are those things? Man the door, man the security checkpoint, man the metal detectors. Their job is not supposed to be directing people to where they need to go. So I'm looking desperately for anyone and their mother from the bar examiners to say, hey, you're supposed to go here. No one was there. So like I said, I'm running all over the place. I'm sweating like a pig. Eventually I find my way, but by the time I get there, the exam had already started by about 5 minutes. So, I mean, good. Oh, and not to mention, thanks to me running around and kind of like climbing under things because I didn't want to have to wade through a sea of people when I didn't need to, my badge falls off somewhere.
This is, oh my god.
This is like the
So,
Murphy's Law bar exam.
Oh my god.
yes. So my badge is somewhere. So I'm like, well, what do? I don't know if I can get a temp badge or something. So I'm running back up, retracing my steps, which, as you guys have seen, it's not a giant convention center, but it is a decent size. So I'm running all over the place. I'm like, oh shit, where is it? Shit. Eventually, I see someone from the bar examiners, and I say, look, I have an exam starting in 10 minutes. I don't know where my badge is. I don't know where I'm supposed to go. Please have mercy on me. So, luckily, they said, all right, let's get you a temp badge. So they do. And luckily, thanks to my superior memory, I was somehow able to remember what my applicant ID was and some random number on the back of my badge, which ended up being what room I was supposed to go to, but they didn't tell me what that number meant. It just says it's like applicant ID, and then it was just number 12. I'm like, okay, does that mean I'm like go in door 12 or something? I don't know. No one tells me what that means. So it turns out that's the room number I was supposed to go to, but no one told me that. So luckily I remembered what those numbers were, so that was able to expedite the process a little bit for them finding where I was supposed to go and making a temp badge for me. So yay, that helps. But still, like I said, I get into the exam and that's entering the room. That's not including having to sit down, get my fingerprints done, having to sign all the shit. Turn on my computer, turn on Exemplify, download, or I already downloaded the exam, but all that stuff, the process begins like 10 minutes after go.
This
Thankfully,
is, oh my god.
in some ways, this was good because now essays, as I've told you guys, essays are my weakness. They always have been. They always will be until the end of time. But I am so nervous and rattled by the fact that I am 10 minutes late to a gigantic exam that I didn't know where I was. I'm sweating balls because I've been running around the convention center. It kind of took my mind off the whole thing. And I'm like, it really cannot get much worse than this, I don't think. Good news is it didn't. That was the worst of the weekend. I'm like, it's like, okay, so I almost didn't get a hotel room. I am an hour late to driving to Tampa the other day, and now I don't know where I'm supposed to take my exam. It was a comedy of errors. It would make the Stooge brothers proud of just how much wrong happened in such a short amount of time. But it all went well. I finished the exam, which was tough in of itself because it was thanks to accommodations, which I needed, by the way. I'm not complaining. But it was instead of the typical 12 hours over 2 days, it was 24 hours over 3 days of testing. So that of in itself was kind of its own little marathon of, wow, this is tough. I am very tired. And then not to mention that the night before the final portion, I believe, before the final part of it, I find out that Russia has invaded Ukraine. So like, great. So I'm going to take this exam, maybe become a lawyer, and I will immediately get nuked to hell thanks to World War III. joy.
So, is it terrible to say that your entire couple days just seems like a Kramer-centric episode of Seinfeld? Or am I the only one who just heard the Seinfeld theme song when he put up the very ending of, and then I find out Russia invaded Ukraine?
I don't know. I've never seen Seinfeld. So.
What? Y'all get on me about the Sandlot. Y'all get on me about this. Andrew, you're Jewish.
Wow. That's literally a declaration? So we should know the lyrics to the Macarena because they're Spanish?
Well, yeah.
I do not know the lyrics. I know the fucking dance, though.
Yeah. I don't even know this. I don't know the lyrics either. I just know. Hey, Macarena. Okay.
Macarena.
But anyway, so
Macarena.
I ended up surviving. Yay! I'm here today to do this show, which is a testament to the fact that I actually did survive. God, I hope I don't have to do that again. And if I do, I hope it doesn't go that poorly again, because I might wish that on my worst enemy, but still, there's not a lot of people I would wish that on. I mean, I would probably wish that on Vladimir Putin, but even still, I have a story to tell for the rest of my life about how I got to the February 2022 bar exam and somehow survived the whole ordeal.
Yeah.
How was your week?
Well, dude. Yeah.
We're all feeling it. You should rechange this episode from sad depressive episode to going through it.
Yeah. Oh, so you guys want to talk about baseball?
I want to qualify all this by saying my week, as bad as it was, is nowhere near as bad as the week as some people have had. I'm not saying oh, pity me, oh, poor me. It's more funny than anything with looking back at it. Certainly a lot worse things have happened to many people in the history of people. I'd say in the grand scheme of things, this was pretty minor, but it would make for a good Seinfeld episode. Now that you mention, I just know it's a bunch of pratfalls and shit, and really.
Seinfeld's not a pratfall show.
Like bad scenarios.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Wrong terminology.
Or sometimes people just your situation is a mixture of Kramer and Costanza. It's not a Jerry thing. It's not a Jerry thing whatsoever, and maybe a little Elaine. But I would say it's a Kramer Costanza effect.
Yeah. Do you guys want to talk about baseball?
Yeah, let's talk about baseball.
Yeah. Okay. So there's no deal. So
I thought you were going to start with the most heartful thing for you, the most painful thing.
Well, all right, fine.
Who cares about no baseball? We call that.
Okay, on the video version of this, I have the Yankees versus the Marlins on MLB 21 the show because there's some pertinent stuff that happened. So Derek Jeter is a false prophet, everybody. I renounce everything I said about him in the last
shut your mouth.
4 years of our show. Almost 4 years now. I renounce everything about him. He was a Yankee trash that couldn't hack it here in Miami. Okay, all right, and so
okay, Mr. Uzi, I guess Andrew lent you his. Goddamn.
And so with his little Players Tribune, his little journal, right over there, all about his feelings. They weren't in the same vision as mine. Okay, Derek. Okay, I'm glad you got shot in the other guys.
I knew you were gonna go.
That's fine. Okay, maybe A-Rod is right. A-Rod was right. You weren't. A-Rod was right when he was saying, "Oh, Derek Jeter's with a good team, and he's not as good as A-Rod was. Yeah, A-Rod's right. Yeah, A-Rod was more talented than you. Okay, you didn't deserve all that money. Maybe all the stuff people are saying about your defensive metrics are true, and they actually are, because I watched a video about that on YouTube recently. You know, yeah, you stayed long enough to. Maybe Brian Cashman should have traded you or let you go. Maybe that should have happened towards the end of your career. You know, maybe you didn't deserve to spend your entire career there.
Going for the jugular here,
because
wow,
you're not committing to the. I said this on the frickin' Fish on a Farm podcast. The Marlins job is probably the hardest job in baseball because of all the shit we've been through. And Derek, you came in here trying to tear down walls, firing Jeff Conine, getting rid of Rich Waltz as the main.
Do you have a portrait of David Sampson in front of Jesus?
Oh no, fuck that guy. Fuck David Sampson. I started Marlins History Twitter account. I blocked him when I started that account. I didn't want him to involve himself there. All right, Our boy Giancarlo Stanton goes away. You traded him for peanuts. Okay. Oh, we got Gary Cooper. He's fine. But I just couldn't hack it anymore, man. What are you going to do now? Oh, you're going to go back to your little private island in Tampa and enjoy your life with your family. Ugh. Whatever, man.
Can I defend biracial Jesus?
Biracial? I don't know about Jesus. No more. False prophet.
Well, listen. As a player and a shortstop, maybe not the greatest shortstop in the game, but definitely top 5. So sometimes this is what happens when you have players who try to go into a big profession. Remember, Jeter did not get any development out of it. He was just hired because he was the human meat shield to Miami because there was so much that
he wasn't hired. He bought in.
Okay, but he bought in, but on the presumption to be the face and then the human bodyguard, to quote Dan Le Batard, the human meat shield for the true primary owner of it. The guy bought in with like a small 10% fund with like a group of people. That's like how Magic Johnson used to be like, I own the Dodgers, but you have such a small effect to it. The only difference is they did in-person promotion as a both manager and, part owner. So it's kind of like, hey, I'm doing this, but I'm really getting paid by being administration, but he didn't have all the final say. It was Kim. I don't know how to say her last name.
Kim Ang.
Kim Ang. Okay, because I messed up already once. I ain't gonna get caught on that stray. Like everybody wants to hit me, like a goddamn 50 Cent. Shoot me 9 times, please. Kim Ang, but she's gonna get the whole facilitation of things. So come home, Derek. Cashman needs you, and I need a replacement of Cashman. I'm just saying, because I'll tell you now, the best thing about
Derek Jeter to be your GM now?
Yeah, you want to know why? Because the best thing about Derek Jeter being the GM was we benefited off of Jeter being the GM to the Marlins.
No. Well,
yes.
Derek Jeter is me when I'm playing all my video games. He wants to play on easy mode just so he can experience the story. That's all he wants to do. Okay. But this ain't easy mode, man. This is hard mode.
Yeah, but all the trades we took from you guys.
Marlins the Marlins are Elden Ring right now, dude. Okay, you're gonna mess up a lot. It's gonna be really hard, but the payoff is worth it at the end. All right, this is the Yankees, the easy mode. Oh, let's just spend money to get this guy. Let's just do that and just be easy for everybody. Nah, you gotta be smart. You gotta be smart here in Miami to turn this thing around. It's hard. I obviously being this is an exaggerated version of myself. Marlins job is really hard. It really sucks. Baseball is as low as it can be down here. It's a Herculean effort to try and turn around the Marlins right now. But you know what gives me hope? You know what Derek Jeter couldn't see with his own 2 eyeballs? Right? He couldn't see the process. The process. He didn't have any respect, right, with the backwards S being a 2 for the process of going through all this.
I mean, we got Giancarlo Stanton.
All right. They say trust the process, like in Philly. That's all fraudulent. Right?
Frauds.
The Marlins, what gets me is it can happen. And you know why? You know why it gives me hope? Because the Florida Panthers are going through it right now. Because the Panthers were All for
But
it.
let me ask you this, Mr. Raging Crusade.
Miami
Isn't 4
sports fan.
years Raging Miami sports
4
fan,
years?
isn't 4 years enough when you get sick of a GM anyway?
Nah.
That's a give or take. I mean, even baseball's kind of weird though,
But
because
the
Billy
thing is,
Beane
I would
has
have
been a GM for so
understood.
long.
I would have understood if he was like, "All right, I'm a peace out of being the CEO." He was the CEO. He wasn't the GM, but being the CEO of the Marlins. But I'm gonna hang around and basically like Dan Marino with the Dolphins, just hanging around. You know, gonna kind of do the easy part of the job. Just show up, shake some hands, be like, "All right, like really like this Alcantara guy," you know, and that's it. Only a little 4% stake, but he pieced out completely. Now, of course, there's the other thing where possibly Derek Jeter had a bit of a personal conflict with being a former player and now being an owner, and the issues happening with the MLB lockout. And this is how we're going to segue into talking about this. Because Derek Jeter, there's some guys that are still playing that he played with. And maybe in his conscience, he was like, maybe he's still a player at heart, possibly. And he didn't want to be part of this. That could also be it. Maybe he just didn't want to be a part of this whole thing. And maybe he didn't like what he was seeing in the background with the negotiations with the owners, because the owners haven't really been negotiating in good faith, because we've had all of this time from the end of the World Series to now to try and get a deal done, and the owners only until yesterday, where they had the whole little marathon and Bob Nightingale was becoming a hero to everybody, staying up late to report on everything, only until last night were they actually getting serious about getting something done. So possibly Derek Jeter was like, "No, you guys suck. I don't like you guys. I don't like this owners club here," and he pieced out because of that reason.
Come back home, Derek.
So that could also be it. And so now we are here, guys, with the owner situation. Andrew, there's a lockout going on. I don't know if you noticed.
Oh wow! Really?
Yeah, there's no baseball now that you're out of your little hidey hole spell there.
I am so surprised. I'm so shocked.
So, yeah. So we're gonna get opening day has been canceled. That's already been announced, and we'll see if further games are canceled, and they probably will be, because I'm sure players are pissed right now.
They've already said they're canceling the first 2 series.
Here we go. So there we are. All right, boys. Let's see. We are at. Let's see. We are at the. Where are we? I'm trying to. Where's the time here?
I think we're at the 2-hour mark.
Yeah, we're basically an hour 48 minutes. We can discuss this a bit, and then we'll move on. But what's your guys' thoughts right now about baseball? And then just like, hey.
I mean, baseball's dead after the Atlanta Braves won the World Series. There's no hope.
Darkest timeline.
Right? Yeah, darkest timeline. It happens for you, and because my paralegal's a Braves fan, so, for him, he doesn't want Freddie Freeman to come to the Yankees. So this is a good ending to the professional sport that everybody's loved since they were children. F it. I mean, I think with and I'll keep it short because I haven't looked as much into what the MLBPA was looking for, but it's something that we've talked about for the last 3 years since this was on notice. But for the owners' purposes, I bet they wish this lockout happened right when COVID started so they could be in the bargaining position, because you can't tell me that you weren't able to go through almost 3 seasons of COVID and not be able to make profits, to get back anything.
And they tried.
They tried hard.
Yeah, they tried.
They tried real hard.
Yeah, they tried to get something going.
They should have wished that this was, the first era of COVID time when the lockout came in. It was just bad timing. Fire Manfred. Marcus Stroman said the best, or Marcus Stroman said the best. It's not going to happen because human meat shields all around. And then when it comes to the players, this is just my thoughts on it. Find a way to break out that terrible, terrible negotiating concept of arbitration, because, it's the only thing that's practiced in the sport, right? In all the other sports. I don't think hockey has it. We know football doesn't have it. Baseball doesn't have it. It's a way of, being drafted so early. Kids are getting drafted out 18, and the difference between NBA and hockey is that you can come out 18, 19, make a crap ton of money, whereas you're 18, 19 stuck in a very heavily regulated minor league that's dead, getting paid peanuts, and you're only going to get more. You're going to get peanuts with a cup of water. whatever deals they're going to try to give it to you. So find a way to take care of the future generations. Isn't that what you want? And also, the only other thing I can comment on is like, Jesus Christ, Brian Cashman, get me other pitching. That's it. That's all I got for you guys.
All right, Andrew, how about you?
Fuck the owners.
Yeah,
Very concise.
that clip.
And Andrew, he's been waiting. He's been waiting to unleash that fury. Okay, and
Can you guys still hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Yes.
We heard that loud and clear.
Okay. Well, I should expand a little bit. So, thank God for Jeff Passan and all the journalists who are uncovering what the owners are doing, because it's for so long, and you can't blame the owners for doing this, because that's what they are supposed to do. They're supposed to make as much money for themselves. It's kind of how things work. But I'm glad for once that the word is getting out there that this is not a both sides thing. The owners have tried to make it that forever. They want it to be, the players are negotiating in bad faith. They don't really want to do this. They're so much they're doing. And the reality is the players just want to get paid reasonably. You can't blame them for looking out for themselves when they're just when I think I read it that only like X amount of players get $1 million a year. The majority of them are like 600,000 and such. It's like, yes, that's a lot of money, but when you compare it to the billions that these owners have, it's not that much, especially when you're looking at how much the average player is making. And so it's really not a both sides issue. I hate that the owners are trying to make it that way, but like I said, that's what they have to do. They have to make it seem like it's a both sides. It's the player's fault, and by extension, you end up having a situation where it is a both sides thing. But I'm glad that Passan and crew are helping us realize it's really not. And if you need any sort of hard proof that it's the owners doing this, they waited 43 days from the lockout when they made the lockout to make any sort of an offer. 43 days. The two sides supposedly made so much progress in 1 week. Can you imagine what kind of progress they could have made with an extra 43 days? That's 1.5 months.
Yeah.
If they made so much progress in 1 week, how much could they have done in 6? Not to mention so you add the 6 weeks on top of how many other weeks they had, this gets done. And I applaud the players for finally standing up. Ever since they keep getting the raw end of the deal with all these CBAs ever since really going back even further. But the owners keep making more and more money. the owner or the players are getting less and less, and they're getting treated like shit. The whole time manipulation stuff.
Yeah, that's the big one. That's a big one. Yeah.
Like, I don't fault the players in the slightest here. And I know I've heard people, they were crying that baseball was postponed. I wouldn't necessarily say it was crying about it. I'm disappointed.
I mean, I honestly think the season's too long anyways, but that's just me. I have my own ideas for baseball to better it, but, you know, we don't have time to talk about that right now.
Right. So I would be fine with the season being canceled if the players finally get a deal that is at least in some way beneficial to them. Because right now the owners are giving them shit. They're giving them table scraps.
That's going to be really hard, right? Like, because was it the '94 season? It was a strike, and there was the players basically reaching them like, okay, we can't keep taking this, and we're just going to just stop finally just to make the ultimate decision with that. And then even then, the '95 season started late because of it. And then you have the other thing where it's like the NHL lockout, and you know, baseball got saved by the home run race, but the NHL was struggling for a while. They were on the Outdoor Life Network, for God's sake. Nobody major was carrying them, and Major League Baseball. I mean, and, you know, like they have all this. They're at a crossroads. This is a crossroads right now for baseball. Between generations of people, and it's not helping out it's not helping out here in Miami because Marlins aren't a good team, and now they're missing, and it's like, well, does anybody even really care down here? So there's a lot of issues going on. Like, some teams will be safe. The Yankees will be safe. The Dodgers will be safe. The Red Sox will be safe. But other franchises, it's gonna be, this will affect them. The A's, are they going to be safe? Are they going to stay in Oakland? The Rays, are they going to be safe? Are they going to stay in Tampa? You know, is there going to be fan apathy to lose an entire season and just like, you know, screw the Rays, screw baseball, we're just done, and then they're forced to move someplace else? You never know. So this is bad. Things are, they would have to do some massive PR blitz and try to promote players in the way that NBA promotes their players, even the NFL does, to try and get people to like baseball again, like the personalities of baseball. But baseball is hard because they don't really like to promote their personalities much. At least not since, I remember back in 98, and heck, that 98, 99, whatever, that era of baseball, the late 90s, early 2000s, where it's like, hey, people knew who these guys were. They knew Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, and of course Jeter and A-Rod and Nomar, and all these guys had personalities. Cal Ripken Jr., Tony Gwynn. But I don't know. It's different now. So we'll see. Let me check the time, guys, because it's late here. And yeah, we're about to hit that 2-hour mark. So, Charles, you said you had a cage ready to go. I don't know how long it'll be, but, you know.
Fine, I guess.
Welcome
everybody, your weekly.
All right.
Welcome everybody, your weekly Truplex the Cage with Charles. Full disclaimer: wrestling is not fake. It is scripted. It's a stage fight. It is a big old song and dance. Even though people tend to say it's not a ballet, sometimes there's flippy and hoity that make it into a ballet. Remember, wrestling is about what? Chasing championships, establishing legacy, qualifying, quantifying your existence on this world. As also, it's about Charles suffering because Vincent Kennedy McMahon does things that aggravate me. He also does things that make me love him. It's a very toxic relationship. I've never had anything like it before in my life. And even though in the chat I said, hey, it's a very AEW-centric card, And it is a AEW-centric card. They have Revolution, which I believe is this weekend. You can get it on Bleacher Report. Don't buy it off of Amazon. For the love of God, don't buy it off of Amazon. You know what's going to happen when you buy it off of Amazon? There's going to be a hold, and you're not going to be able to watch it. And you're going to be sit there for an hour and a half
Budget
wondering what
and
the hell
Amazon getting hit
is going
right now
on.
with those holds.
And it just gets you so much. And I understand why they don't even have a disclaimer into it. Is Charles going to get Revolution? I don't know. I'm kind of thinking yeah, and I'm kind of thinking no, and I'm kind of like $50 is a lot of money, and I'm kind of like, but I did get my tax return last week, and I get paid this week, so it's kind of it'd be tough. It'd be tough, but I liked the last pay per view I had, which was Full Gear. Do I like the card that we have here? I don't know. So I'll go with the AEW predictions for the pay per view because I'll keep it short. And then I gotta talk about the one thing, Vince McMahon. I'm watching NXT right now as we speak. We'll recap that next week. Right now, it's Pete Dunne versus Carmelo Hayes for North American Championship. Obviously, Carmelo's going to win this, but it's a good match so far. Since we started the show late, I was able to kind of watch it, as we're going. I didn't want a game or anything of that nature. So, Revolution, as you know, AEW has their pay-per-views like only 4 times a year. They should really go to 6. I think 6 is a strong number to do, and then in the future go with 8 because you can have special events on the TV shows like Dynamite and Rampage. However, commercials just kill everything. Picture-in-picture kills everything. I can't get behind it half the time. So let's go down the list. We have Hangman Adam Page versus Adam Cole, Bay for AEW World Championship. Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa. Those names sound familiar, right? Because I gave them a spotlight last year when they had the lights out, no sanction match, beating the holy hell out of each other, which left Britt Baker just bloody mess. And Thunder Rosa won that match. Well, they're going for the AEW Women's World Championship. You have a triple threat for the tag team titles that was a cool move by Carmelo Hayes. Jurassic Express, which is Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, versus Red Dragon versus a team to be determined. That's going to be Young Bucks. That should be good. Jade Cargill versus Ty Conti for the TBS Championship. Andrew, for your purposes, I don't know if we talked about the TBS Championship is now the secondary women's championship. How the men's championship is the secondary championship, which is the TNT Championship. Now they have their own equivalent. Brian Danielson versus John Moxley. We'll talk about that in a second. Chris Jericho versus Eddie Kingston. We'll talk about that in a second. Then we have a match I don't really care for. Andre Idolo, formerly known as Andre Cien Almas in WWE, Matt Hardy and Isaiah Cassidy, a private party versus Sting. That's Sting. Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara, your TNT champion for whatever reason, it's not defending the title. I don't get it. And then you have a face of the Revolution ladder match. Winner of the ladder match gets a title shot. They don't have everybody set in there, but it's a battle of the beefs. So we're going to start with that one. I'm super excited for that because you're going to have a ladder match with some big, beefy men, Francisco and Andrew. And what does Charles love? Big beefy men doing big beefy things. I like sweaty meat men. Andrew wasn't there for the anger. Oh, is he about to win this match? Andrew wasn't there for the anger of Elimination Chamber. Super angry still. Still pissed on that. But we have Wardlow. Big beefy man. We have Keith Lee. Yeah, that Keith Lee. That Keith Lee that I used to talk about from NXT on AEW. That's a big beefy man. Follow us on Twitter, Keith Lee, Charles the True, Dan Frijoles, FJOJR, Sports Goofs, all that other fun stuff. We have Powerhouse Hobbs, another big beefy man. Then we have Ricky Starks and Orange Cassidy. Not beefy men, but good performers. And there's a wrestler to be determined to will they'll have that termination. That should be fun. Winner of that match gets a title shot or guaranteed title shot, I think, against I want to say it's the TNT Championship, which is weird because last year they did off of the AEW World Championship, so I don't know why you would have preferential stuff. But anyway, it's a good match to have a pay-per-view. The match I don't care about, Andrade El Idolo, Matt Hardy, and Isaiah Cassidy versus Sting, Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara. I understand the TNT Championship is defended almost on a weekly basis. I do not think that you're doing yourself a service by putting your TNT Championship for the second time in a row. I think it's the second time in a row. I believe it is. In a pay-per-view match, in a multi-man tag match without it being a title defense. Why? Because if you want people who buy into these things to know what great of a performer your champion is, what better way to show that? The casuals, because what do casuals do? Like we used to do back in the 90s boxing, when it was Mike Tyson versus Evander and we were going to pay the $70 on pay-per-view, we split it together, right? It's easier to get a group of casual wrestlers to buy the $50 price tag, still too much. Amongst 3 people. I don't have anybody who would do that. I wish you guys like wrestling, but you don't. so they could showcase how great of a champion Sammy Guevara is. You didn't do it last time at Revolution because he had the Minneapolis street fight, and now you're not going to do it here because you have Sting and Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara teaming up. What's the storyline behind that? Everybody's been feuding for Sammy Guevara CNT title. Darby lost to that. Andrade lost to him. Matt Hardy's around. They're part of the Hardy Foundation faction. Is it a way to just kind of bring in Sting? Yeah. You know what kind of bothers me a little bit, though? Sammy's already in the stable. He's in the inner circle. That team is breaking up. And you're going to have a guy who's part of that stable doing a multi-man match elsewhere. Doesn't make much sense, right? Wouldn't you just put Sammy with his boys, Santana Ortiz, Proud and Powerful? Or Pride and Powerful? Yeah, it's Proud and Powerful. Teaming up together? But you put Darby and Sting? Is it because we're pimping out Sting for old timers and casual people because it's cool that guy who's 62 can actually still go? Because Sting can still go. Not a full wrestling match, but in tag team, sure. I don't know. Not crazy about it. Chris Jericho and Eddie Kingston. We love Eddie Kingston. We to a degree love Chris Jericho. Sometimes, it's a little bit too much. Am I excited for that versus one of the matches that was in my top 5, top 10 last year of Eddie Kingston versus CM Punk? Not so much. Do I hope that it's a short 10-minute match? Obviously. Was this the battle for? This is a battle over Santana and Ortiz. Remember those guys that we just mentioned who should really be teaming with Sammy? Just doing stuff out. Is it going to lead to the breakup of the inner circle? Yeah, that's fine. I should do some predictions. I'm sorry. Sting, Darby Allin, Guevara win the other match. I'm going to say Keith Lee wins the TNT title shot. Why not? We'll go for it. Eddie Kingston, Chris Jericho. Eddie Kingston wins. Santana Ortiz, do some terrible things and betray Jericho. And then it's the inner circle finally. For once breaking up a stable. That happens. Then we get Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley. You know those guys, the former WWE guys. Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, Jon Moxley, Dean Ambrose. They're having a feud. I have like a little humdinger for it. I'm ready for it. Should be good. Moxley wins, but I really would actually push Danielson to win, and that's because we want the really strong heel turn. MJF versus CM Punk. They're in a dog collar match. You know those things. Dog collars rub, people beating the hell out of each other. MJF pulled off a great promo. I sent that to you guys. I don't know if you watched it. I implore you to watch it. He is playing the fiddle on mic work, and it shows why mic work matters because you can't necessarily wrestle every single week, guys, but you can always have an opportunity to speak on the microphone. And if you have good mic skills, if you have a quick promo, it's easier to write storylines unless you are employed in WWE. I don't know why Elias is being used. Makes no sense. MJF wins this. MJF needs this. If MJF does not win this, he already beats Punk once cheating. If he doesn't win it this time around, it's because I believe they're going to have CM Punk challenge Hangman Page to give more credibility to Hangman because he's kind of taking a back seat a little bit. And you don't necessarily want to do that for your primary title holder. So that's kind of thing. Jake Cargill, Ty Conti. Cargill wins. You can't ruin that. Jurassic Express, Red Dragon, which is Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, former WWE guys, part of Undisputed Era, versus a team to be announced, but I'm predicting that to be Young Bucks. Jurassic Express wins. Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa wins. They have a long-standing rivalry. I don't think you can continue this Double or Nothing, which is in May, but maybe you can, and you can have it like 2 out of 3 falls. You can have it where the person, who is the champion loses, and they can have a rematch for some reason that's kind of absent in AEW. The only time I recall a rematch of a title match was Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley doing it at the pay-per-views, but you ought to incentivize it because you already do long feuds for stuff that's non-title, but you can make the title matter something if people are continuously going over it. You can't have a hot potato of belts. That's annoying. Hangman Page, Adam Cole. I wish they built this story better. I'm not going to lie. Because Adam Cole, the whole thing is like, they used to be boys, not boys from the Bullet Club. Cole's been on a winning streak record. He hasn't lost a singles match, but he technically did to Orange Cassidy in a lights out non-sanctioned match. And that's my problem with the lights out non-sanctioned matches is that the win-loss matters don't count. So technically Orange Cassidy, in theory, if he beat the number one contender, should really be the number one contender, not in the face of the Revolution match. Get rid of the power. You can have power rankings, get rid of the whole, rankings of what the next contenders would be if you're going to go from there. Paige is going to win. Paige really just needs that credibility because I kind of miss Kenny Omega as champion, and I really couldn't stand cheating Kenny, but I love Hangman. But this is the problem sometimes, guys, of when you have this almost year-on story of being the underdog, finally getting through being champions. Now that you have the belt, what do you do with it? That's hard. Remember when I told you, Francisco, the hardest thing about wrestling was give me a storyline without championships in there? Now give me a storyline where the guy who has fought for the pinnacle to get the title actually gets the title. You can even equate it to a professional standard. Kevin Garnett's the best center. Kevin finally got it.
Yeah.
Kevin did it. And what happened was the next memorable thing that happened to Kevin Garnett? 3 things. 1, losing to the Lakers again in 2010. 2, getting traded to Brooklyn, doing nothing, and then getting sent back to the Timberwolves. And then 3, getting denied by Ray Allen. That's the problem. When a guy that you were the big, and let's be honest here, let's make it to basketball. Was there anybody who's a bigger underdog in their entire career, the bigger underdog story than Kevin Garnett? And what he had to do to get there as the big ticket?
Yeah, I mean, he sacrificed. He was going to stay in Minnesota, but he just couldn't stay any longer. He wanted to win a championship more than anything. So
yeah, and the story about underdogs that we're comparing to is you have to win something. So Reggie Miller does not count. Reggie did go to the big dance, but but this is somebody who culminates
going down that road.
Well, that's fine. You don't want to be part of Miami. I don't want you. I don't want you. I need you, but I don't want you. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. So that's the whole thing. The hardest thing about wrestling is now that you gave the underdog, it's easy for a heel, just continue to be a heel and evolve as a heel. But as a face, it's kind of tough because the only other remedy you can have is have the babyface turn heel. And that's not Paige whatsoever at this point. I don't think it ever could be him the way he is with the fans. So I will make that determination if I have $50 to spend. It depends. My Saturday's already going to be kind of screwed anyway because I have a community outreach thing that I have to go attend. That's going to be like 4 hours. So, remember when I was just supposed to be a lawyer, some kid in a cubicle, and apparently there's more. So I'm not going to be able to hit the gym that morning, and I don't know if I want to do 3 p.m. deadlifts. It does not incentivize me, but if I do it, I'll probably be dead and I'll just watch it. But we'll see. You guys will know I'll watch it because I'm going to blow it up the same way I blew it up last time. But let's go to the one singular thing about WWE. 2 things. Cody Rhodes has yet to appear, so there's no full confirmation that Cody is going to technically be in WWE, but that's heavily rumored. WrestleMania, we'll talk about WrestleMania when it matters. We'll talk about what are we going to give you a week off for Brock. But the reason why I mentioned Cody Rhodes is because Vince is giving me finally something I want. This man abuses me. He abuses me, folks, because he gave me meat-on-meat action in January with Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar, and I absolutely loved it. And then he says I was going to get more meat-on-meat action in a cage with other men in there, and I didn't get that. And that was very hurtful. But what did I want for WrestleMania? I wanted Edge and AJ. I said I told it. I think I said on last show, if I don't get Edge and AJ, I'm not wrestling. I'm not watching WrestleMania. I'm canceling Peacock. I was dead ass serious because there's certain things that I need in life to go my way. You have no understanding how difficult it is to be since us kids. This is the only thing that's keeping me on. Besides having the Ratatouille moment, I need Edge, AJ, and with Cody coming back, I'm like, bro, if you give me Cody and Edge. Because AJ, he re-signed probably for another 2 years. They're both on twilights of their career. Edge was given a talent. They were both hot in the times where Edge was in his prime. AJ has always kind of been in his prime, but he's just booking differently. But remember, Edge had to retire for the triple neck fusion. They met at the Royal Rumble 2 years ago. There was that little thing in AJ, that spear. Edge was doing an open challenge for people. And it's not so much that wrestling is predictable, so I always knew in my heart it was going to be AJ. I had propelling AJ and Edge for 4 months now, have I not? The minute he split from Amos, I was pushing that hardcore. This is just what I want. I don't really care about any of the other matches because at the end of the day, wrestling is that at WrestleMania, I can be sports entertained, and there's a lot of matches I'll probably just like, oh, that was fine. But I do want a pure great wrestling match that's not overbooked. And then last night, something magical happened. It was Raw. Finn Balor's the new United States champion, by the way. He beat Damian Priest. Damian Priest turned heel. Edge had his open challenge to close out the show. He's like, who's going to be here now as I have the Lakers on my TV? And I wonder why. Lakers Mavericks, ew. And saying, who's going to challenge him? And then you hear AJ's music. I'm like, thank you, God. I'm looking up in the sky. I don't know if I'm praying to Yahweh. I don't know if I'm praying to Odin. I don't know if I'm praying to Zeus. Typical God, God with beard, baby Jesus God from Ricky Bobby. But whoever it was, they got all my things. And then something even better happened. Edge turned heel, tried to hit AJ. AJ tried to hit him back, and then he low blowed AJ, and he did a concerto, which was putting AJ's head on one chair and then him with another. And then I'm like, thank you, Satan, because obviously I sold my soul for a full heel Edge versus AJ the way I was like. Because now I get a story. I don't get dream match. I get a story, and I am so invested now with WrestleMania. Logan Paul or Jake Paul, I don't know who's who. I don't care about the Paul dudes. I don't follow wannabe influencer or legitimate influencers and pseudo boxers like that. I don't care they're going to be on WrestleMania. I don't care about all this stuff. So Vince McMahon might be wrestling. Pat McAfee might be wrestling. That stuff was just going to be, it's whatever. It's that perfunctory. Someone ordered the appetizers. You don't really want the appetizers, but it's on them, so you have to eat it anyway because you want to be rude. That's how I feel about those kind of matches. This is my steak rare with like Glenlivet Scotch, and I am. If there's any match that I'm going in on, it's that. So obviously, Satan has my soul now. My parents are probably like scared if they hear that on public television. People get freaked out. Or I sacrificed the Right Mountain Chickens down in Miami, right, to get in there. But I'm so excited. I'm so ready. I was not expecting the heel Edge. Originally, I thought when they were going to lay the groundwork, they were going to do heel AJ. But what this tells me, and we're going to do the early predictions this far out to leave it at this, is that if AJ has to win, because we're just doing the cross modes. Edge doesn't need this. Edge has spent the last year in some great ass feuds with Roman, with Bryan, with Seth. There was a thing with the Miz, which is meh. AJ needs this because he's always been main event caliber. But when you're a soldier, that means you can go do a tag team with Almost. That means you can go against some mid card stuff. This will catapult him back into the main event scene and presumably hold one of the world titles. Because even though it's a winner take all unification bout with Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, 2 different networks, we know that's not happening. So this is what you need to get there because Edge has been just the main event scene for so long now. And the year he's come back, there's been really nobody who's been booked better than Edge. He's only lost once, and that was on like live TV. Everything else, oh no, technically, let me redact that. He lost a lot of times the WrestleMania Triple Threat match. How could I forget? But Roman has just been so fantastic that it's just assumed that you lose, except for when you're going against Brock. Those predictions at WrestleMania are gonna be fun, by the way. But we got this match. I hate you, Vince, because my body, my mind's telling me no, but my body is telling me yes, and I don't see nothing wrong for a little bit AJ Edge. That's all I got for you this week on Cage.
Okay, well that's it for us, everybody. So we're done. It's over for today. But thank you everyone for joining us for another edition of the show. And, well, we'll see you guys next week. It'll be much lighter, I promise you. Bye-bye.
Night, everyone.
Take care.